Hey guys, so day 5, last day. What? So, what you're gonna do is make sure that this is all the way down. Okay, it needs to be completely unzipped because you will pull it through that other hole that we talked about in earlier videos, and then through this to flip it the right way up. And then you just want to have this one is about halfway, just out of the way basically, so when you sew this together, it's not horrible, okay? So, I've learned this the hard way. So one of the first things I do is make sure that all your top parts are even, okay? And then what you're gonna do is you want to stop sewing about a 1/4 inch down. So I just go ahead and mark it now so that I know that that's where I'm stopping. I mark it on both my pattern piece right here. Doesn't have to be an extreme mark, just a little mark. On both sides, yes, I'm that weirdo that does that. Mostly because I like to catch. And then you could do it, you basically can do it on all your pieces. Just go ahead and mark a quarter of an inch down. You're going to stop and start there, okay? You're not going to sew all the way up to the very top. You're going to stop at a 1/4 inch. It just makes it, I think, when you're flipping it easier. If you did sew all the way up and you went all the way across, my very first one was like that, and it was fine. The corners were just a little harder to push and poke through. So you're going to, So you want your first piece like this. You want to fold it in half to find. You don't have to fold like the whole thing in half. You just want to find where the middle is, basically. And then you want to take your outer piece, and you also are going to fold this in half. This one, mine is kind of easy for the simple fact that that's where I sewed it together. But you're also going to put that. Oops, where's my curve? Yep, the curved side. So your curved side is what is getting sewn together. So you're going to meet these two together, where you had your little middle piece at going on. All right. And then you're just going to ease this. Well, not really ease. You're going to have to manipulate it a little bit. But just go ahead and start clipping. You might have to adjust it. I like to get it kind of clipped in place first and then adjust around as needed. And then you're just going to go all the way up. And just try to make sure. Oh yeah, I did forget about that earlier. Well, see, because I just don't do it.
I ate all my food.
You ate all your food?
Yeah.
Good job. You were supposed to baste these all together. Sometimes I do, if I remember, which I did not this time. But if you didn't baste them together, like you should have, let's go ahead. Make sure that all of your pieces are completely even on the bottom, okay? Through all your layers. Honestly, I would baste it if I were y'all, and I might once I take it over there. I can't believe I forgot that step when we finished day 3. But you're just basically going to baste all around. So again, let me find this halfway mark. Yeah, this is me actually sewing. I do this all the time. I'm like, oh, I remember all my steps. I did all my steps. Oh, man, I forgot a step. Which usually if you're sewing for yourself is not the hugest deal, right? Because no one knows. But y'all happen to know because I make these videos. And so again, you're just going to go ahead and clip all the way around. What, babe? Probably on the table.
Wait, I'm making another video.
You're alright. But yeah.
Well, where on the table?
You'll have to look, baby. I don't know exactly where it is.
Wait, you dumped my backpack.
I was with your backpack the other day. So
Oh, yeah.
anyway, you're gonna clip it all the way around. Now it's gonna get a little harder when you get up to this curve because you're gonna want to pull this to where it meets up. And obviously it's not the most flexible thing, okay? But your point here, you want this to be up here, okay? And then you're going to do the same thing around the other side. Ideally, obviously, is that your points will match perfectly. If you need to adjust it a little bit, that's fine. Sometimes this one, like you can see, it's a little taller, so it's not a huge deal. If you have a little bit extra of the zipper tape, the zipper tab, I mean. But for the most part, yeah, perfect. They should all meet up. And again, when you do the zipper thing, you again can use Wonder Tape. Oh, I ran out of tape over here. You can use Wonder Tape so to hold this in place. But now it's like this, right? And what you're gonna do is you're gonna sew 1/4 inch all the way around. When you get to these over here, you want to kind of smush it down and make sure that they stay straight and do not bunch up. You want to ease it into the curve. It's naturally going to want to pull this up or the foam up. Just push it back to where it stays all together evenly around. If you don't do that, that's how you get kind of wanky pieces. Okay? So go ahead and do that now and come on back. All right. So, so now, I like to pop mine out. You don't have to do it, but I just like to pop it out. Make sure you cut all the seams all the way up. It's curved a little way. You know, and then even open up this zipper right here. And just push your hand in there. And make sure that you got all the seams in there. That there's nothing worse. Okay, those are just threads that when I pull threads out. Then getting almost all the way done and then checking and realizing that something's messed up and then you have to fix it. And then you have to tear the bag apart. So go ahead and pop it back out the way it was. So it's again like this. Now you are going to take your other one and again fold it in half. Ooh, let me go get all these clips. I've accumulated over here. There it goes. Just need some clips for this. And you're going to do it again. You're going to match up this side. See if I can find my. Oh, there you are.
Oh my god!
Again, mine's a little easier because my halfway mark is where I sewed it together. And so now you're going to do the exact same thing. Fold half, except for you're going to do it on the other side now. Again. Clip it all the way around. This gets a little thick when you're in there, but I promise you most sewing machines, especially if you are using woven or fabric versus vinyl, it should go through fairly okay. I don't know if we talked about it, but I think I did put it on the suggested list, but micro text needles work amazing. I use it even on things like this that is fabric. And again, don't forget to stop a quarter of an inch. Okay. Start and stopping quarter of an inch. Back stitching where you're starting and stopping. And then again, just do it around the other side. This one's pretty good. I haven't had to adjust it. Sometimes when you get around, just because you didn't make sure it was in the curve all the way. I'm pretty sure my dogs are about to start howling at me because they want to go outside. The curve all the way, you'll have a lot of excess at the top. This one looks like it's pretty solid. I love when they work it out the way they're supposed to. And just kind of make sure, like you see this one has a little bit of, and I did have a little bit extra, not a lot to actually matter, but I did have a little bit of pull at the top there. And that's because I didn't make sure that I clipped into my curve all the way. Like I said, sometimes you get something like sometimes one side will be better than the other. What you don't want to do is you don't want to move where your halfway mark is, okay? Because you do that, and your rack can potentially come a little lopsided. A lot of times it's just this curve right here, and if you pulled it a little too tight, then really it needs a little more, it needs a little more slack in there. That's all that usually is. Like I said, just don't move. Rear one. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Okay, and so again, you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to sew all the way around. You can go over your same stitch you had earlier. If you started on the side, you go through the same stitch, or you can sew on the opposite side. I like to go over the same one, just so that you sometimes, if you don't, you'll see it on the other side when you flip the bag out. So go ahead and do that and come on back. Okay, so now you have both sides on. Should look a lot like this. So now you're going to take one of each side. It doesn't particularly matter which one you do, but again, make sure that your inside is unzipped. Okay, because once you start doing this, there's no going back. So you want to make sure you definitely catch all your stuff, because you won't know that it's wrong until you go to flip it. So again, either your mesh one, you can do this one first, or you can do the other one first, but it is exactly the same concept. You're going to find the middle, and then you're going to match it with this, and then you're just going to flip it all around. Funny enough, you would think the foam is the one I dislike the most, but it's not. The other side, you need to be careful, because I had to go back. Oops, there's some extra strings. When I did it, and this part right here bunched up, and you want to make sure that it stays nice and straight, or it causes bumps in your lining, which obviously is not good. So this is why you left your little quarter of an inch at the top. You leave a quarter inch at the top or whatever, so that you can sew this on too. And just kind of push it in there. There we go. Perfect. Until you get all the way to the top. And then you're honestly going to do, and make sure that you tuck your stuff inside. And then you're just going to do the exact same thing. You're just going to sew all the way around. Okay? So go ahead and do that now. So this is what it looks like. So this is your foam. You want foam and foam together. And you're just going to sew around. Alright? Okay. So now I have this side on. Try to give them a good tug. I do try to stick my hand in while you still can, because once you, this side you can't do it. But just to see if maybe I missed any of the corners or anything like that. And then now you're going to do the exact same thing to this other side. You're going to again find the middle. And then find the middle of this one. And again, you're just going to ease it on. Make sure you push your zipper or your pocket out of the way if you need to. Really the most tedious part going on right now. Okay, and then again, we're just going to sew around the curve. So, go ahead and do that now, and come on back. We're almost done, guys. Y'all get to move around my room. I realized my phone only has like 4%. So now, this is what you should have. It should look like this. Again, try to like make a rounds around each of the corners. Make sure that you caught all the stuff, because it's going to suck so bad if you have to flip this back out afterwards, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to fold this where like it pretty much makes like a sandwich. You see the sandwich? And you're going to sew starting a quarter, so pretty much from where your stitch is over to your other stitch and back stitch, okay? Sometimes I do a half if I'm worried that all my layers aren't even or whatever, but the pattern calls for a quarter, okay? So go ahead from here forward. Make sure you back stitch at both corners, okay? Again, do not take it all the way to the corner. You're gonna pretty much just taking it to where your stitches are, okay? Do that and come on back. All right, so oops, I got some strings going on. Now you can trim up your seams if you want. I don't necessarily do it. It's only a 1/4 inch. I will cut the little corners right here just so there's not so much bulk. But then basically, let me do that now. And then just like maybe some of the ones that there's a little bit of overlap or whatever, I might trim that up a little bit. But usually I just leave it as is, dust it off, only for like some foam. It honestly doesn't matter, it's just gonna pop out either way, because all of this is in the round. So now for the fun part. Remember that hole you left? Oh. And you know what Daddy did? A really stupid thing. And I'm sure I told y'all earlier to make sure you leave your zipper unzipped inside. And mine is definitely still zipped. So that's fun. So now I gotta try to manipulate it. Oh, startled me. There was a DoorDash guy outside, and I was like, we didn't order no DoorDash. Must have been my neighbors. I use DoorDash like all the time. So let me pause this real fast. I don't like y'all watching me just struggle around. But inside zipper, make sure you leave it unzipped during the earlier session part. So hold on one second. Okay, so I fixed it. If you do that, see, so I can give you some helpful hints, which trust me, you make enough bags, and it happens. And guess what also happens is y'all go flying onto the floor. So if nothing else, I am super entertaining during my sew alongs. So what you could do is honestly you just unstitch a little bit of where this is attached to each other. You stick your hand in there, you unzip it, and then you stitch it back. It's a really easy fix. It's more like an annoyance than anything else. But before we do that, this is an optional thing. You don't have to do it. I have done it on some bags and I haven't done it on other bags. So really it's not a necessary thing. What you can do is if you want to have these layers kind of closer together at the top, and this helps it stick together, you're going to push that inner one in, right? You don't want to make sure you don't stitch it. And then you just kind of want to put a little basting stitch really close from here, about 2 inches down. And the same thing on the other side. And if you want to do that, go ahead. If not, you can go ahead and start flipping your bag. I'm going to go ahead and do it. Okay, so now that's done. It just keeps it a little together. Oh, I didn't make mine even. Hold on one second, guys. I didn't realize I didn't get that stitch. Sorry, stepped away for a second. So you I just like to shake my bag a little bit, get any loose strings off. I tend to leave mine just in case. So I tend to leave them instead of clipping them, only because if something were to pull, it would have to pull a decent amount to get that out. All right, now on to the birthing, as people call it. So you see your hole, right? That is what you're going to pull your bag through. This is the least funnest part. I said that about a couple parts, huh? I really do enjoy making bags, but it takes a whole other level of patience and such. And it sucks. So unlike clothes, right? You can just fix it. You can just seam rim it real fast and fix it. This, if you did something wrong on the insides, you won't know until after you've already flipped this thing all the way out inside out. I had one the other day. I accidentally put the zipper on upside down. And if it was for me, I probably would have just left it. but it was for someone else, and so I flipped it inside and out. And I mean, it wasn't a horribly long fix. It just sucks to have to pull all these guts out. So once you get a decent amount flipped, what you can do is, I don't want to put this on it because I don't want it to break. But you just want to push the big pieces through. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that while I finish this. And then before I get to the next step, it's just honestly just a pain in the butt. Just kind of push it, wiggle it all the way through until you get the bag out, okay? Okay, so now you have your bag. Should be like this, right? Here's your pocket. This is when you need to check that you caught everything, okay? Or at least on the inside. Because if you didn't, this is your chance to flip it back out before you close this hole. I mean, obviously flipping it sucks, but it's way better than finding it after the fact. So make sure you do a really good inspection of your bag. Mine looks pretty good. And then what you're going to do is then you can push that in there so it's out of the way. Stay in there, babe.
Why?
Because you have no clothes on. And now you're going to flip it so it is right side out. Again, make sure you do a little inspection. Make sure everything is good. Mine's looking pretty good. Push this out. You can then get a chopstick like before and push it out, or I just kind of push it with my finger.
Hi.
My crazy child. Anyway. And then, right, baby, move. I'm almost done.
Okay.
You're gonna go ahead and close up this hole right here.
Just want to watch.
And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna flip it in the seam allowance, and then just run an edge stitch right along this edge. So go ahead and do that, and come back, and then we should be done.